this is Dan Miller for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, and this is part 4 of my look at arpeggios on the mandolin. In part 1 we talked about a couple arpeggio patterns that you could explore in every key. In part 2 we talked about how to use those over random chord changes, practice those changing between arpeggios, between different chords in a GCD progression. And we also looked at how you might do that over a song when we used Lonesome Road Blues. Just playing arpeggios over the chord changes to a particular song and keeping the phrasing of the song in mind and trying to play your note selection like the phrasing that the singer might sing the song to sort of fake it till you make it. Get to a jam and you don't know the song, this is a way you can get by using arpeggios as your bass. And then last time we talked about how you might, if you knew a song melody, how you might use arpeggios in various ways to fill in the gaps between a melody note. Okay, so we've already gone through all that stuff on the first 3 videos. This time I want to just take a look at a fiddle tune that uses arpeggios as most of its melody. Okay. It's called Woodchopper's Reel, and I counted every note in the A part and every note in the B part. And in the A part there's 60 notes, and only 12 of them are not notes in arpeggio. The song Woodchopper's Reel just has 2 chords. It's in the key of D, so it has a D chord and an A chord. That's all, the 1 chord and the 5 chord. And in the A part, all but 12 of the 60 notes are out of a D or A arpeggio when you play over those chords. And for the B part only has 57 notes, and only 12 of those are not in the arpeggio. So with a song of almost 120 notes, A part and B part combined, there's only 24 notes that are not in one of the chord arpeggios. So it just goes to show you, you can create some cool stuff just using arpeggios and throwing in some other notes from the scale from time to time to keep it not being so uninteresting, or expanding your note choices a little bit so it sounds a little bit more interesting. And mainly in this song, and I'll point this out later, mainly in this song the notes that aren't in the arpeggio are used in sort of scale runs between the arpeggio runs. So anyway, I'm going to play the A part relatively slow. I got a tablature for this, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go to the bluegrassunlimited.com website, go to the lessons page, navigate to this lesson, or you can just put Woodchopper's Reel in our search feature. Find this video, and right underneath the video on our website you can find a PDF of the tablature that you can download. Okay? So I'm going to play through this fairly slowly. The A part, so you can just get an idea how it goes, and we'll take a look at that, and then we'll play the B part one time through just fairly slowly. It's an A-A-B-B form for this song, but I'm just going to play one time through the A part, one time through the B part, because they're pretty much identical. The A parts are identical and the B parts are pretty much identical. But I just want you to get a feel for the song. Now, fiddle players who play this song will fancy it up with triplets and these kind of things. So they're maybe going a little bit more outside of the arpeggios, but the basic melody, the basic simple melody is based on primarily arpeggios over the D chord and over the A chord. Okay, so here's the A part of the song. Okay, there's the A part. Okay, so I won't go through what notes, you know your D arpeggio. Check out that D arpeggio right there and compare what we just played for the A part, and then the A arpeggio here. So this, all that is A arpeggio. That's the arpeggio we're using there. So compare those two with the notes that are being played. You'll find most of them are out of those two arpeggio shapes for A and D. Now let me play the B part, and we'll take a look at that. So there's the B part, and it starts out this. That's a D arpeggio. Again, we're playing that 6, that B note. Back to D arpeggio, right? That whole lick there is 2 D arpeggios played in a row with that thrown in 6 note over each. Then it goes to a really long A arpeggio. Like that. That's all A arpeggio. It's this one and this one. But instead of playing this, I'm playing that open. So I'm starting this shape, I'm starting it here. Now I'm playing open. So that is a big long A arpeggio. D arpeggio out of the first part. You can call it a D6 arpeggio because twice we're adding that B note. And then it goes to this real long A arpeggio. There, that note's not in it. But that's playing this A shape and playing this A shape arpeggio. So there you go, short lesson today, but you got a tablature. I played the A part and the B part. You can check out the tab and compare it with this A, and this D. Those D arpeggio notes and those A arpeggio notes. Check it out, compare it, play it, and you can see how you can really make a cool tune, mostly with using arpeggios in a fiddle tune context. All right, the other thing I want to talk about in the context of fiddle tunes and using arpeggios is, and this is just an exercise, it's not, you're not creating a fiddle tune and you're not doing anything but just a great exercise to learn how to use your arpeggio shapes and get familiar with them. I wouldn't recommend necessarily playing a fiddle tune like this, but I think anything where you take a pattern, and we're calling these arpeggios patterns, and you learn how to combine these patterns in certain ways in a free, improvised style or practice, is going to help you if you're the kind of person that started out your process learning the mandolin by memorizing tablature or memorizing songs that somebody taught you, right? What I find is students that start out memorizing songs and go for a long time memorizing song after song after song, later when it's time for them to learn how to improvise or learn how to create their own solos, it's hard for them to get away from playing something that they've memorized. Like freestyle playing something is a hard step to make. It's a big leap if everything you've ever played has been memorized. To go now and say, okay, I'm going to play randomly off the top of my head and not know where I'm going, right? But learning that skill is a way to start to learn how to improvise. And like I've said many times before, not only learning how to improvise, but that freestyle, loose kind of playing will help you if you start playing something you memorized and get lost. You won't crash and burn if you have a skill, what I call a recovery skill. And the recovery skill could just be playing over an arpeggio until you find that next chord or that next note that anchors you back to your memorized solo, okay? So, you know, if we say a fiddle tune is roughly eighth notes primarily, you know, not all eighth notes or it would be very boring, it would be like a stick on a picket fence. But let's say I do the stick on the picket fence kind of thing for a fiddle tune, and I'm just not going to hum any kind of melody. I'm just going to do the stick on the picket fence to get a sense of what I'm doing. And I'm just going to do like a fiddle tune in G, and it's going to be a 1-5 progression, and it's going to be something like just random kind of that kind of cadence. And then I want to try to just kind of play over that kind of thing in my head with a fiddle tune style of dense melodic playing, all right, over, but just using the arpeggio. So it would be something like. So I'm just playing G arpeggio, change it to a D arpeggio, which is just quick D. So I just went up to that A note there, and then back to a G arpeggio. I use this arpeggio, this one, that one for G, and back to G there, D to G there. So again, it's just an exercise to familiarize yourself with the arpeggios, play them a little quicker, a little bit more dense than you would on a vocal tune, and just mess around with it. You know, play quick and fast with a lot of notes over the arpeggios, and that'll help your ability to play off the top of your head and not have to have something you've memorized. And the more and the more and the more you do that, the more you can shape it, the more tastefully you can make it. But start somewhere, you know, and starting with just arpeggios, which is just 3 notes to choose from, and starting just randomly playing, even if it's really repetitive and you're not maybe making the most interesting thing. It's a place to start, and then you start getting better and better at it, molding it and shaping it, and you've got those notes really under your fingers really well. And the random patterns that you do at the beginning start to form into more cohesive patterns that make more sense musically as you move along and get better and get more skill at it. So give that a try. Anyway, this is Dan Miller for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, and this is part 4 of arpeggios. Next time we're going to do more arpeggios. So far we've just worked with the G major arpeggio. Next time we're going to look at a minor arpeggio and a 7th arpeggio, because other than major chords in bluegrass music, the most other kinds of common chords you run into other than major chords are minor chords and dominant 7th chords. So we'll take a look at those arpeggios a little bit next time.